What's going on, everybody? It is Damian G along with Terrell, and we are back again with another review of Peacemaker. This time, episode 4. I'm going to ask you right off the rip, first inclinations of episode 4.
Oh man, I loved it, man. You know, I've already been on this roller coaster high for this show, and this is like that point where you're like right up and it's coming down. Oh man, this is so great. Like this episode just already set the point for me. It gives me another reason why I love Vigilante. He's like my favorite character next to Eagly on this show.
He definitely stood out toward the middle and end of this episode, you know, kind of piggybacking off the previous episode where he was being tortured. And it's a little bit more fleshed out. And this weird psychological back and forth he has with Peacemaker,
right?
Which on a psychology level is really interesting, almost like a backwards Stockholm syndrome, but yet, you know, it's just, this show is just basically about people trying to find their place, man.
Right.
Like just trying to fit in somewhere, from economists to you know, I'm going to call her Waller Jr. For a second, because I felt Adebayo's struggle more in this episode than at any other in this point. So we'll get into it, but off rip, I could tell you, I love the dynamic between Peacemaker and between Adebayo, as well as Peacemaker and Vigilante. Like the three of them, and we'll jump around a little bit. The three of them, when they were chilling outside the prison, I thought that little repartee between the three of them was actually really well done. It's like two friends bickering, you know, and trying to come to like a middle ground, and then they finally decide, okay, you know, and
right.
I feel like that's the whole Argus team right now. They're all just trying to find their way, their middle ground, and just learning to get along. The first thing I noticed in this episode, away from Peacemaker, is Adebayo's small descent, little by little, into Wallerhood.
Right.
And trying to fight that urge to become Amanda Waller, despite her best efforts to not do that. So I don't know if that stuck out to you, but that's something that stuck out to me.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely been talking about since episode 1. Is you know as it slowly gets mentioned, like the stuff that Amanda Waller does to get the job done, regardless. It's about the country and doing what you got to do, and using criminals, regardless of their families or whatever, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And her, pretty much using manipulation, which is Amanda Waller's top ability. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So. Yeah, this is definitely a slow descent. We'll definitely see by, the end of the season where it takes her.
And here's the thing that I've been trying to piece together because when they made the reveal of her being Amanda Waller's daughter, I was curious as to how they were going to kind of interlope the shadow of Amanda Waller over not just Argus, but over her daughter. And you saw that with her tug of war internally between shooting judo master, and just basically saying, I've never shot anyone before. Right. I've never hurt anyone before, even though, she had her license at 14, she said earlier in the series. So and I'm going to use this phrase later, the cadre of like the back and forth of everybody, in this team and their mental capacities, being tested, economists, just being like this fuck up who is good at like one or two things, but everything else is what's being harked on for him, like being a complete fuck up, and Hargrove just being that den mother. I seem like she's starting to crack a little bit underneath the pressure of like being the straight face, like assassin type, the whole like, hey, the first time I killed a man, I didn't have a period for like 3 months. Like,
right.
Okay. That's a psychological and a physical issue, but everybody kind of stood out in their own way in this episode 4. Even the fucking next door neighbor, with these little Batman tidbits.
Batman
has a cadre of villains. Right. They mention all these villains, and I'm thinking, that's a good point. Like you brought up Mad Hatter. We got a Mad Hatter reference. So I don't know. I just felt like this was a more comics friendly / I feel like I was watching the CW in the best way possible in this episode.
If the CW actually had a bigger budget,
yes,
and the backing of a bigger studio, like
agreed. So I said my piece about like the things that really stood out. So what about for you? What really stood out for you?
Definitely, like you said, everybody, like as you see, like every episode, one of these characters is slowly revealing a tidbit about themselves. And they're not as like these emotionalists, government workers, you know what I mean? They originally presented about to be, like you said, with Harcourt, she's just like, I'm just here to do the job, and and I'm out. And as you see, like little by little, she's like revealing something about herself. And the scene at the bar where she's already like already anticipating Peacemaker or Chris to say something to her. You can tell like it didn't really offend her as much, you know what I mean? Like that's why I keep saying something's going to happen there. I don't know.
I mean, obviously I think they're going to hook up at some point, but it was a little less overt,
right? And like you said about Adebayo, and and this, we're doing spoilers like this
oh yeah, just in case y'all didn't know, spoilers up galore.
Spoilers. But she pretty much manipulates Vigilante. Like you said, this is the character that just was like, hey, I'm just trying to do this job, I'm trying to be out. And the longer she stays, the more she kind of I guess not corrupts, but loses a little bit of what she came in with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And if the plan was to not be Amanda Waller, you're going to be Amanda Waller by this episode, you know what I mean? And maybe, another theory I had in my head was like, maybe this is them trying to replace Waller at some point. Something's going to happen, you know what I mean? Because I know we're getting some other stuff, but everybody had that moment. And this idiot, man, what's his name? Sean or whatever the IT guy's name is.
John Economist.
He just keeps doing stupid stuff. Like they got Judo Master tied up, and like I said, she shoots him in this episode, and you learn a little bit more about him and what he's willing to do for the mission too. And definitely, and like I said, the development of Peacemaker, man, this guy's lunatic. Not Peacemaker, Vigilante. He just needs to belong. You know what I mean? Like so. And what he's willing to do to prove his friendship.
Yeah. And I'll say this about Vigilante. I again, we didn't read the source material of Peacemaker going into it. We're not, right. At least I can speak for myself. I'm not a DC diehard. I read a couple fully expected him to be a goof, like the goofball sidekick that fucks everything up, basically to be John Economist.
Right.
But I gotta admit, him in the prison, just his fighting ability, I'm like, oh
yeah, he's trained, man.
I'm about this. I'm about this life right now, and I love the little verbal back and forth with him and White Dragon, because White Dragon was like, oh no, you ain't gonna goad me into fighting you. They got cameras up here, and I'm like, right. Oh shit, I didn't even think about that. Where it's like the two other alien dudes were the aggressor, and for me, that solidified Vigilante. Even though everybody had a little fuck up in this episode. You notice that? Like, everybody had a little bit of, oops, I fucked up at some point in this episode.
Right.
If it wasn't just John, if it wasn't just Peacemaker or Adebayo, everybody had a little bit of a mea culpa episode here. And I like that. It shows how irrevocably, I can say the fucking word, flawed everybody in this team is. This is not a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. smooth operating squad. This is a team of fuck ups. And right. Then we get to the ending, which I called long before the episode started.
I knew we said it last episode, man. We knew it's suspicious.
I'm like, yo, this dude's a fucking butterfly. And
he was too weird, man. He was too weird.
He had no affect. No. Zero affect. I'm like, bro, you have to have some sort of affect to be in this line of work. Yeah, you were a butterfly. And you know what? When Judo Master is fighting Peacemaker in the parking lot, he goes, they're not what you think, and then Adebayo shoots him.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, does Adebayo know really what the butterflies are? And that's why she shot Judo Master?
I don't think anybody knows truly, except probably the guy who turned out to be the butterfly. I cannot think of his name. They say it like 1,000 times. But I don't think anybody knows truly what. I think it's I cannot get the word.
See, it's not just me. This is a whole mea culpa episode. There we go.
Everybody has a piece of what it is. You know what I mean? Yes. But they don't know truly what the mission is. But they do know what butterflies are, but not truly what the mission is.
Right. Clemson Mern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
aka the butterfly. If you didn't know,
the butterfly guy. Yeah.
They should have named this the butterfly effect.
Ashton Kutcher might have sued. I don't know, but
does he own the rights to that? Like,
I don't know. He probably needs the money right about now.
But the Adrian Chase, aka Vigilante,
yes.
And I was telling the Nigeria, like, this, he reminds me of Rorschach from
Watchmen.
Watchmen, yeah. His personality, the way he goes about, I mean, Rorschach didn't kill people as far as I know, but just kind of personality-wise, stuff like that, it kind of reminded me of that character, especially the jail scene. Because remember the jail scene in that movie when he just goes in and was like, all right, I'm about to bust everybody. Hey, name something.
I'm not locked in here with you. You all locked in here with me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. It's like, name something you're thankful Black people did. Just to go
when he broke down the rock and roll music, I was laughing because I've heard that broken down so many times. But you see the Aryan people's faces like, the fuck you talking about? It's like, that's the thing. But that's the thing. We talked about, the hanging of the flag upside down on White Dragons. They ask, he asked the question, what the deal is with your dad having the upside down flag? And he talks about like the deep state, this country's not safe, yada, yada, yada. So like automatically Vigilante can't stand his dad off the rip. It's not even because he's just a bad dad. It's just he's a bad guy, Same with Adebayo, like this dude's an asshole, but Peacemaker's still trying to get his daddy's approval because he still thinks there's some good in him. And as the story goes on, we learn that potentially Peacemaker had something to do with the death of his brother. So in the ending montage, when he's dancing in his trailer, we see that he's still haunted by the death of Rick Flag. He's still haunted about the first killing he ever did, and potentially about how he affected his brother's death.
Right.
So we don't know what exactly he did. We're just privy to the fact that his brother was foaming at the mouth, frothing at the mouth during his death scene.
Yeah, like he had like an overdose or something.
Right. So I wonder, really, is it really something that Peacemaker had something to do with, or is it because his father might have set him up to do so? Because his dad says, I loved your brother. I didn't give two shits about you. So thanks. That's good parenting there, White Dragon. But we'll see, I guess, in the next couple of episodes.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought that suit was cool.
Oh, hell yeah. Until Vigilante broke down the whole, well, there's a couple of holes in the armor. I'm like, yeah, right. That's some Vigilante would say, the but guy. Yeah. And we find out it's a quantum folding universe.
Right. They took the time to explain that. I really appreciate that they did that.
Same. I said, somebody watched Ant-Man and said, you know what? Let's make this a quantum universe to just give us some MacGuffin. Because I kept thinking, how the hell do you have this storage place, like this high-tech storage area in a rural ass house?
Right.
It looks like it's bigger than the whole goddamn house. So it was explained. I like that it was explained. What else?
I don't know if you noticed this, but like I said this last time, but they keep finding a reason not to put a gun in Peacemaker's hand. Like, you know what I mean? Like he conveniently just does not have his weapons. And that was kind of like his whole thing in the Suicide Squad, right? Like him and Bloodsport, like going back and forth with like, the shots and the weapons and stuff and different ways to kill people. And Bloodsport, his whole thing was killing people, but just miniature bullets and stuff like that. So I just keep trying to figure out why is it that they're going out of their way not to just make it easy enough for him to shoot things. You know what I mean?
I think he might just be shell shocked for whatever reason. We talked about almost like Gulf War syndrome last episode, where the last thing he remembers before waking up in the hospital. Remember, the last few things he did was kill Rick Flag, almost kill Ratcatcher 2, then get shot in the neck by Bloodsport. And then he's realizing that the America he was trying to maintain, the secrets he was trying to maintain for Amanda Waller, she ain't all she's cracked up to be either. So he might be living a lie this entire time. So he might very well be just gun shy just because he's shell shocked, and we see that he's still haunted. Like I said, he's still haunted by Rick Flag's death. So obviously that plays a big part in his psyche right now. Right. Because he even says, he quoted the line, I want peace, kill women, children, kill them all, but I need a reason. He said, I need a reason. I can't just kill a kid just because he looks homely. Like,
Right.
I need a reason. And they're telling him kill this person just because he's a butterfly. But what the fuck does that mean? Is it a harm to my country? Or is it just because you're telling me to kill this person? He says, I'm not going to kill someone because you just told me to. I need reasoning. And that's why he's using the whole, oh, I need the dove and shit on his weapons. That's just a cop-out. That's just his mental, like,
Dove of peace.
Exactly. Like, I need my peace to be able to carry out my missions.
Right.
No, he doesn't. He's just using it as an excuse to get around what's really going on with him. And this is the fact that his whole world, he may be this macho buff dude, but I think he's got the mental capacities of a 14-year-old still trying to get attention from mommy and daddy. Like, again, going back to what we said at the beginning of this review, he just wants to fit in. He wants to be accepted. But in what he's accepted in is a bunch of killing. He's starting to realize there's more to life than just killing.
Right.
Now he's going to discover what that is. That's what it just sticks out to me in my
No,
mind.
I mean, he's definitely, you see him changing. I mean, he's been in the hospital 4 or 5 months. He feels remorseful about the whole Ric Flair thing because that was, like you said, that was definitely not something that he wanted to do, which is why they keep replan it because like that was, you know, it just happened between like him and the mission, you know what I mean? And Flag was kind of trying to change sides, you know, at the end of that movie. And you can say it's affecting his psyche, it's affecting him shooting things, and everything's been like I said, everything's been a fist fight. You know what I mean? Like it's not been a shootout or anything like that. Well, people were shooting at him,
right?
But yeah, man, just like, you know, him finding out the whole scene with his dad, like he's like, man, that's my dad. You know, regardless of, you know, what he is, you know, that's still family. You know what I mean? Like regardless, these guys are racist. Yeah, I know. I'm a racist through association apparently. But
I'm not gonna lie, when he talked about family, I heard Dominic Toretto's voice in my ear.
Family.
Saying family. So being that John Cena is Jacob Toretto in the Fast series, it's like
wow, yeah, he is, right.
So that's what sprung into my mind when he said that.
The lighter Toretto.
The lighter skin Toretto, apparently. The one that didn't get any suntan.
As they casually explained that his dad was just all over the place.
Right. It's like, yeah, he just had hoes in different area codes apparently. But
yeah, man, like I said, it was a great episode. Really more into Adrian Chase's character or Vigilante. Yes. And you know, I just read today that we weren't even supposed to get the actor that was supposed to play Vigilante Adrian Chase. They reshot that. Like apparently it was like
5 episodes.
Right, like 5 episodes in, they kind of did that all last minute. And I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine this with anybody else because this guy's great. Like,
I can only imagine the dude they hired to play him beforehand. But yeah, I feel like he's nailing this role. I feel like everybody's nailing their respective roles, and this is good. Right. You know, there's not a weak link, I don't think, in the main acting cast. Like I said, Robert Patrick, I hate him. He's doing his job. John Cena, perfect. Everybody else, on point. You know, Adebayo's character is conflicted as like the every person in this show, so I'm enjoying that. And I think one little nuance I noticed in this episode, I don't know if you caught it, he finally stuck the landing.
Oh yeah, that was perfect. Just
Peacemaker finally stuck the superhero landing, and I'm like, he stuck the landing. I just threw my arms up, and I feel like he got really smug when he did it too, like. Tom, like,
yeah, he's not a meta. He's just like,
no, he's a human. He's just a dude. He's John Cena, basically.
Yeah, there you go. He's taking something.
But overall, I would say, you know, that this is a solid B+ episode. You know,
oh, definitely. Especially the fight between him and Judo Master, man. He was like, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to get my rematch. Like, you ruined it.
You took that away from me. You know, he's like making fun of his. He's like, wait. We're doing insults now? Like, that's what we're doing? Personality insults? That's what we're doing right now? Okay, fine, sure, whatever. But overall, really solid episode.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now I'm really looking forward. Not like I can't wait, but it's whetted the appetite for me enough where, remember when I said the first 2 episodes kind of had me like meh. So now I'm slowly on the chugga train right now of Peacemaker. And I can't wait to see what happens because I loved Robert Patrick's character of White Dragon trying to justify being a snitch by saying he's not a snitch.
He's like, it's the same thing.
But he will snitch.
I ain't no rat.
I ain't no rat, but I will hesitate. I won't hesitate to spill beans. I'm like, Yeah, that's a rat. That's what rats do. So I don't see the problem here. But yeah, overall, solid B+ episode. Looking forward to more. Nothing really stuck out as far as what I didn't enjoy. I really enjoyed this from start to finish. So there was no like negative nicks for me. You know, I'm not going to give any thumbs down or thumbs.
No, it flowed. It flowed very well.
Yes.
And I was like, man, it's over. I'm like, oh man, I want more Vigilante. Like, it was pretty good.
I wouldn't mind getting a spinoff of Vigilante, like maybe 2 or 3 episodes off of this to get like a Vigilante show going on, or an Argus show where Vigilante's brought into the fray. Who knows? But I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else we have in store. John Cena, again, is on point. James Gunn, the writer of this episode, obviously, written very well. Like you said, the flow was good.
Right.
The whole duck human thing, it reminded me of duck season, rabbit season for whatever freaking reason.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And I didn't notice the, obstacles or opportunities, the bunny, which was the same bunny that was on Rick Flag's shirt because it's WB. So it's almost like Bugs Bunny. So I keep liking that little nod to the logo that was on Rick Flag's shirt, but the bunny was in the car too. So I thought that was cool. We learned obviously that we find out someone is an actual butterfly, but we don't know what the butterflies are. Right. The butterfly is in the jar. We learned that Peacemaker kept the jar, didn't blow it up. So it's in his house. Now, here's what I'm wondering. And this is a little bit of potential pontification. Just what if the butterfly communicates with John Cena and Peacemaker just starts freaking out because he's talking to an extraterrestrial? Because remember, he did not fight Starro. He saw Starro. He didn't fight Starro. So this is his first brush with extraterrestrials, so it would seem. So I'm really curious as to where we're going to go with this now.
My theory kind of is I think that butterfly is going to get in his head and take that bomb out. That's just a thought.
Ooh,
I think
very
he's going to take that bomb out.
Okay. And then we got an Easter egg with Matter Eater Lad, which I had to look up who it was because they talked about eating a whole Wendy's but couldn't finish his fries. And then I looked up who Matt Eater Lad is. Really quickly for y'all, his powers are the ability to bite through and consume all forms of matter, including that which is supposedly indestructible, like Amazonium for Amazo, I guess, Amazomium, and Superman. So he could basically eat through Superman. Superhuman digestion, content analysis, digestive enzymes, metabolism-induced super speed. But he also is a hand-to-hand combat fighter. So basically he can eat through shit. So that's really random. Now, some people are saying his power is worse than Condiment King. I'm sorry. Nobody's worse than Condiment King. No one. I'd probably say he's more akin to Polka Dot Man than Condiment King. But again, it's one of those little wink, wink, nudge, nudge references that I didn't know who the hell he was until I looked it up. And I'm thinking, they made a comic book character. If you remember Yu Yu Hakusho, Gourmet.
Do I remember it?
You remember the character of Gourmet, that he literally could eat anyone and take on their power. That's the first thing I thought of when I read this dude. I'm like, this is Gourmet. Like, DC has their own version of that. That's actually pretty cool. But again, it's like a D-list superhero or a C-list villain that we get to hear about, which you talked about last review, where they're dropping like all these C-list, D-list level stars, but making them somewhat relevant, or at least us cognizant of their existence.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're mining gold from the bottom of the list now.
Of the mine, yes.
Yeah, and they're turning those characters and putting them on par with, you know, a Batman, Superman. Not, I wouldn't say on par, but like right there below.
Relevancy.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, all in all, pretty good episode.
Yeah,
solid B+. I think I'm good with this review right now as it stands.
It was amazing. Like I said, I'm gonna definitely go back and watch it again, man, to see if I missed anything. But it was a great episode.
Cool. And on that note, this is Damien G. That's Terrell. We are part of Big Gold Belt Media, and you have reviewed or heard us review Peacemaker episode 4. Be on the lookout for episode 5 coming soon. And let us know in the comments, because are we right? Are we on board? Are we on point? Or is there something we're missing in the overall arc of Peacemaker? Let us know, fill us in, and we'll be glad to debate you in the comment section. You have a good one, y'all.
See you.
Big bell.